Hi everybody, very excited. Some proper interaction here before your exams. I've been dying to do something like this, actually talking to you, you guys talking to me, doing a Q&A video. I can't wait for this. This was all set up on Instagram, guys. Instagram, I love Instagram, great stuff. Make sure you guys are following me on all my social media, not just YouTube, but Instagram, yeah, Twitter, yeah, big stuff on Twitter. And also Facebook. Get on there, get on the hype, EconplusDal hype, right? Let's go, first question. So Lee Joshua, yeah, emphasize the E. Lee Joshua, you've asked, what's the best way to evaluate? What a great question. So examiners, what would they say the best way to evaluate, the most impressive way to evaluate? Well, in my view, it's prioritizing your arguments, weighing up your arguments with evidence. Now, you can do that throughout your long essay question, but of course you do that in your judgment. That's very impressive because that shows skill, that shows confidence, that shows wider context. I think that's the best thing, but not just weighing up your points, prioritizing, but evaluating in context. So making sure your evaluation is not theoretical evaluation, making sure it's real life contextual evaluation, weighed up that way would be very, very impressive. Grace Guthrie asks, I know you, Grace, I remember you from the workshop, top quality student here. You said, look, if we're panicking in the exam, are there any go-to eval points? So not just the best way to evaluate, but if we're struggling, if we're panicking, if time is an issue, kind of go-to evaluation points. Yes, the easiest way to evaluate for sure is to question any assumptions in your economic models, any assumptions in your prior analysis. So when you've analysed, your analysis for sure will be underpinned by some key assumptions. So the classic phrase depends on, right? But just generally, making sure that you critique your assumptions and say how your assumptions may not always hold in reality is very easy evaluation and will apply for any analysis point that you make. So that's always a great go-to. THX Dope Show. THX Dope Show. The next question comes from THX Dope Show. I'm going to give you some dope advice. That's definitely coming your way. You ask two questions. You say, okay, do you have any tips for essay writing? The best way to write great essays? And that's the first question. So yeah, absolutely. First thing is you've got to plan your essays. Don't take long, a minute or two. Just write down some key things in your plan. When you write essays, you should know the structure of the essay inside out. That should be learned beforehand. You should be happy with the technique. Then plan your essay for sure. That's the biggest advice I would give you. Second, you need to make sure you're evaluating throughout. So once you've got your structure, once you've got your plan, make sure there is evaluation throughout. Great advice, examiners will love that. And also make sure that you plan your judgment. Your judgment is so important for that final big long essay question. Your 25 marker, right? You've got to make sure there is a strong judgment there. Lots of eval marks will be on that 25 marker judgment. So that's my big advice for you. The second question that you've asked, more dope advice coming. You're a dope show, got to be dope advice. You've asked what are the best videos to watch on the channel, the best ones to watch. Well, I recommend this first and foremost. I have made playlists covering all the content, right? Year 1 micro, Year 1 macro, Year 2 micro, Year 2 macro, and all the other bits like behavioral economics, development economics, financial markets, etc. All of that is there, okay? The key thing is you've got to watch all those playlists. If you look at it in hour terms, they're not very long, these playlists. You can sit there and binge watch these videos. You've got to make sure the content is mastered. And if that means watching the videos, taking down notes and mastering it, and memorizing it, then do so. But then once you've done that, all these extra revision videos that I'm putting out, these are the extra nuggets. So like I've just put out my UK stats video, I've got a great one on key equations and conditions. I've got one on the best ways to revise. I've got one on market failure, key stats, and there are going to be more coming. Yeah, there's going to be more coming, including these Q&A videos. Watch those. They're not long videos either, but those extra nuggets can take you to the AA star that you're desiring, that you're dreaming, right? So that's my advice in terms of using the channel. Content first, watch the content videos, massive. Then watch all these extra bits and also make sure you watch my exam technique videos and essay writing videos. Literally everything is covered on the channel. So make sure that you watch it all in good order and it's all covered, it's all mastered. That's the point of the videos, that's the point of EconplusDal on the channel, right? We've got Gedge1799, you're saying, can you come to Arthur Terry's school? Of course I can! Invite me! What are you doing? Why are you so late on the game? You should have invited me already. I've actually been doing a lot of visits this year, a lot of workshops in the UK, around the world. The new thing for EconplusDal, as well as the videos, is for me to come and see you guys. I love it. I love this kind of interaction, but seeing you guys physically is what I really want to do. So yeah, drop me an email. I'll come to anywhere, absolutely anywhere. Just let me know. If you want me to do a workshop, if you want me to help you with revision, just let me know and I'll come, absolutely. Just do it through your teacher, share your passion, and yeah, I'll be there next year obviously now, but get on the hype, let's get this done. The next question comes from Aaron Songson. You say, on behalf of MGE's class, what's your favourite economics joke? Well, first of all, a shout out to MGE, whoever you are. You're obviously a great teacher, I love you to bits. And shout out to all the students in MGE's class. Great stuff, great to see you guys. What's your favourite economics joke? There's one that stands out, this one's quite hilarious actually. So there is a guy jumping off a diving board into a swimming pool. As he dives into the pool, he breaks his neck. That's because he forgot to seasonally adjust. That is a hilarious joke. I mean, come on, that's absolutely fantastic, right? Oh my god. Oh, seasonally adjust. You gotta love economists, right? That's a great joke. There you go. That's a funny joke, that one. That's really good. Oh dear. Okay, what's next? The next question is from Udpav Gaurav. It's a very important question. You ask, what is application? Is it just basically saying things or having context from the country you're in? Or do examiners prefer UK examples? To be honest, it depends on the exam board. Take AQA as an example. AQA is very much a UK economy heavy exam board, but Edexcel OCR less so. So if you were to pick examples from any country around the world, no problem at all. There's no rule for application. Application should be there to back up your points, or it should be there as evaluation to contradict or to critique your points. As long as whatever you're saying is backed up with some kind of context, you'll score big marks. So no rules for application, but you must always apply for everything that you're saying, okay? And just bear in mind, the question will often tell you what kind of focus it is. So if it's a macro question, they might give you the economy, they might tell you where a certain thing is happening. If it's micro, they might give you a specific market. So no set rule, but just know that AQA will favour more UK examples, not always, but most questions will be UK focused. Edexcel OCR, much more kind of worldwide. Revision tips and how to revise, how to memorise notes. Good question. Okay, the next question is from two people. We have Alex Lawler and we have Ollie Wright. Some very important questions here. Ollie, you asked any good revision tips. That's an important thing. And Alex, you asked about memorising notes. Well, let's take revision tips first of all. And how to stay focused, right? The key thing when you're revising how to stay focused, not to be distracted, is by keeping your brain engaged. Make sure your brain is doing things. Okay, so if that's reading notes, if that's watching videos, whatever, don't be static. Make sure you're doing things alongside. If that's writing your own notes alongside, if that's talking through, maybe if you're reading a page, whatever it might be, make sure your brain is active. Maybe it's drawing diagrams, I don't know, maybe it's essay planning. You've got to make sure your brain is active. That's crucial when you're revising, really, really important. What about memorizing notes? Well, memorizing notes and revising effectively that way is very much individual and it's personal, right? It's up to you. I mean, maybe you find mind mapping very good and you like mind maps, that sticks into your head better. Maybe it's making really colourful notes, or maybe notes that are structured in a lovely way, whereby when you revise it, you kind of revise how it looks on a page, and then you know when that question comes what those points were. Maybe it's voice recording yourself, right? Voice recording and then hearing it back to yourself. Maybe you find that really useful. I don't know. You've got to work it out. You've got to work it out. Maybe it's just testing yourself, asking yourself quick-fire questions, seeing if you can answer it. It's up to you. You know, some people can just memorize things from a page and it sticks in their head. You have to find your own personal way, whereby your notes, whereby your content sticks in your head. It's a very personal question there. But in terms of revising economics, what's the best way to revise economics? It's really simple. First thing is content mastery. Now that in itself isn't simple, the idea is simple, but memorizing all the content is fundamental. So if that means watching videos, taking notes and memorizing, do so, but make sure you can master the content, memorize all the content. What I recommend is chunk it. So do topic by topic, chunk by chunk. The specifications are great in that way. You must have the specification. See how it's chunked down. Memorize content chunk by chunk, topic by topic. As you think you mastered a topic, that's when you should practice questions. A wide variety. Multiple choice for basic knowledge tests for sure. Maybe it's explain questions to see if you can actually expand on theory, and then of course your evaluation questions and essay planning those to make sure that you can add on those evaluation and judgment skills too. That's the best way. So content mastery, topic by topic, and past paper questions practice alongside massively. Also, that means writing questions under time conditions. Maybe the odd question a day under time conditions, I think, is a great advice as well. We got Ben307 asked, so are there any tips, really good tips of how to revise in the 24 hours before the exam? Yeah, Consolidate your revision, absolutely. Go through all the material and make sure you're happy with it. Your exams are going to be micro and then macro, right? So you can chunk everything up there. Just make sure that your content is mastered. And again, just, quick fire, assessing yourself, making sure you can write essay plans. If you've done essay plans already, memorizing those and making sure you're okay with those, that's the best way. If it's watching certain key videos on the channel, then do so. Just whatever you think you need to do in those last 24 hours for you to be 100% ready, feel free to do so. I used to, on the day of my exam, wake up really early in the morning. I used to sleep at an okay time, then wake up like 4 in the morning. Very much a personal thing, but I used to love having like a couple of hours before I went into school, just to make sure all that content was fresh in my head. I used to have this really weird like freak out of, if I sleep, I'm going to forget everything. So the idea of, wake up 2 hours early or something and just go through that content again, used to just make me feel really confident that, it's all there, I'm ready to go. Just on the day of the exam, that was a very useful thing for me. But whatever you guys need to do, that's what you got to do in those 24 hours. Next question comes from Eileen Karoibu. Sorry if I butchered that name, apologies. But anyway, you asked an interesting question. Very interesting. Is the ring on your left hand real? Or do you just have that ring to avoid being hit on? I mean, come on, who do you think I am? Obviously this is painted on, it's not real. No. Of course it's a real ring. What do you think? Do you think I'm some kind of joke? Just mess around with you guys? Do you really think I get hit on by you? If I get hit on by anybody, it's by guys, for goodness sake. So I've got to make sure I put a few rumours to bed here. First of all, I'm not gay, alright? I'm straight. I have a wife. Why else do you think I've got a ring on this finger? Alright, come on, wife, say something. Okay, no, we've got some wife issues here, okay? So she doesn't want to say anything. But I have got a wife, alright? Some of you have seen my wife. I am not, well, I do appreciate the male form, okay? Some of you are fantastic, good-looking people. But I'm not that way. I'm straight, I've got a wife, that's why I've got the ring on. And hey, if you want to hit on me, feel free. Right? No, okay. What? No, they can. I mean, come on, nothing's going to happen, right? If they do. Okay, we've got some issues here. Anyway, let's move on. Let's swiftly move on. Okay, Danny Ruel, the last question answered, you say marry me. I can't, okay? I can't. I love you all to bits, but I can't go to that stage. The wife won't be happy. You know how it is, right? I've got responsibilities as a husband. I've got to make sure I stick to those. Even though I love you guys to bits, I can't go that far. Sorry. So Naomi Nelson, you ask, can we see more showerdal? This is a question close to my heart. I love showerdal, right? This is pure passion. It's pure excitement, right? I might have come out of the shower, but I'm desperate to say something. But unfortunately, that's been banned. The wife's not very happy with it. You know how it is, right? So no more showerdal. I'd love to do it. If it's up to me, I'd do all my videos showerdal, right? Just that passion, that excitement, but I think I passed the line there a bit too far with showerdal. I don't know. You guys let me know. If you want to do it, then show me the pressure. Put it all down below in the video. Let me know in the comments. How much do you want to see more showerdal? And then I'll see what I can do.
You cannot put that in the video.
Why?
You can't put that in the video.
But it's true. Tony Quinn, I remember you, Tony. Yeah, I was your badminton coach, wasn't I, in the previous school? Top quality badminton player, clearly top quality economist now. That's a good question. We're making comparisons between index numbers. So for example, 125 and 96. Do we need to do a percentage change calculation, or do we need to just subtract? No, you don't subtract. You've got to do a percentage change calculation. Remember the equation for calculating an index number, getting an index number? Take the raw value divided by the base year raw value times by 100. And then when you're comparing to another index number, it's percentage change all the way. Okay, Tony? Gotcha. Zappa 8, you asked a very good question about advice on micro and macro effects. We all know OCR, not so much on this, but at Excel, you're going to have micro and macro effects in your paper 3, 25 marker. AQA, it's not going to be explicit, micro and macro effects, but you're expected to bring in some micro points and macro points, mix it into your 25 marker in paper 3. My best advice is going through the course and kind of bunching up topic areas. So have a load of topic areas that could feasibly be micro/macro effects questions, right? Or questions where you can bring in, mix and match micro and macro points. And when you're revising, just have separate pieces of paper and list some micro points, list some macro points from these topic areas. Very powerful way of getting your brain to think in this way, to develop those kind of skills. It's very, very simple. I've actually got a video on this. It's in my edXL playlist, because edXL's 25 marker is so obviously micro-macro effects. But all of you can look at that video and see how I do it. And it's very, very simple. Follow that. Micro-macro effects will be a breeze. Swee Hay and Joe Murphy, you guys asked, how do you maintain your hair so consistently? Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not much of a hair guy, right? I go to a nice quality barber, and I just leave it. I guess I'm lucky, no product. Maybe that's the clue. Maybe that's the trick. And he also asks, do you have any children? Not just yet. I'm still a young guy, young buck, right? EconplusDal all the way. We'll see in the future, right? If I do, you guys will be the first to know.
Young.
Oh, Shivai. Shivai, you came to my workshop too. I remember you well, buddy. Great guy. Oh, I also came to your school, didn't I, Shivai? Great stuff. And you asked, on a scale of 1 to mangoes, how much do you love economics? Well, easy answer. Mangoes all the way. If you know, you know. Right, Shivai? Next question comes from Ed Ferguson. You asked, should diagrams be drawn in pen or pencil? It's an important question. Examiners will accept both, right? So you can draw in pen if you want, but I strongly recommend drawing pencil. It's very easy to make mistakes on diagrams. Even I do from time to time still make mistakes on diagrams. So drawing pencil, then you can rub it out. Whereas if you did it in pen and you made a mistake and you're crossing out, it would look awful. And that's bad when diagrams carry loads of marks. And always remember with diagrams, guys, in pencil, yes, but draw them big, like a third of the page big, yeah? Maybe even half the page big. And draw them with a ruler, okay? So make sure that they look really nice, make sure they look pretty. They score big marks, and obviously talk about them well in your analysis. Diagrams are a big deal, it's part of your toolkit as an economist, so do it properly. And the last question comes from 2 people. We have James, argument. No argument with you, James. We're on good terms. All is good, we're chilling. And Max Chappell, you both asked, what are your predictions for essays this year? What do you think could feature in the exams? Oh my god, how many times am I going to read this question? Well, here we go. That's the end of the Q&A, guys. Some great questions. Hopefully you found them really useful. Take that advice on board. We'll do another one soon. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, a bit of morale boosting, a bit of confidence boosting for your exams. Keep going. We'll do another one next week. Make sure you're on Insta, make sure you're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I don't know where I'll do it next. Probably Instagram again. Love Instagram. I'll see you there next time.